Come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Breathe easier inside your home with Bryant. Eliminate allergens and odors and control humidity too. For a breath of fresh air, call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hey, it's Jake Sorensen. Join us for Early Break this Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. at the brand new Residence Inn at 9th and R in the Haymarket. We'll showcase the brand new hotel and preview its grand opening. That's Early Break this Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. at the Residence Inn at 9th and R in the Haymarket.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
4th of July weekend is coming soon, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? A dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble your grill so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more.
Play ball! Haymarket Park is buzzing with excitement this summer. Grab your crew and get in on the fun. Be sure to catch all the daily specials and promotions this season, like Thirsty Thursday, Fireworks Friday, Souvenir Saturday, Family Fun Day Sunday, plus special events and discounts all summer long. Don't miss out on the action as the Lincoln Salt Dogs take on their biggest rivals and knock the ball out of the park. Visit saltdogs.com and see this week's promotions and grab your tickets.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Welcome to Ticket Weeknights
on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got Tristan Gomes joining me to my left. You guys can join in 402-464-5685. That is the Sartor Hamann text line. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo Channel 961. All great ways to put a face to the voice. And I encourage you to do so, as we got plenty of new faces around the ticket as of late. But with that being said, Tristan Gomes, we got you here on a Wednesday. I'll ask you, how's the first week of being on air going? Or I guess technically not the first week. You slipped in a Saturday with Jackson Kleinschmidt before he left.
Yeah, it's been absolutely awesome. It's a great group of people around here, and the ball knowledge is just fun. I feel like every time I get in here, there's just something new that we start talking about. So I'm absolutely loving it so far and happy to continue.
Yeah, I will say the craziest thing when I first joined the ticket was you realize sports are awesome, that you can do this job. Second part is there's a shadier side to sports that's not as fun covering. And the third part is, have you listened to one-on-one with DP or sat in with one-on-one DP yet?
Yeah, so my first Saturday I worked, DP went for 2 hours and then an additional hour. And it's just unbelievable to hear him talking how he can just, keep going. And he always talks about how he's never going to start in the same place that he ends, but he just goes on and it's always just great content. But
yeah, well, like him and, it's not just him, obviously, but listening to guys like VJ Eric Strickland, I'm only 26 years old, but you don't realize like how much of that history that you just missed out on. And you always have those like a DP talking about the ABA. He can tell you all the teams, the uniforms, and it's like that part, which is always really cool. And shout out to all the talent here because we get that depth. But with that being said, we're not here just to fly to the ticket for this first segment. We'll talk some NFL football. And we were talking before we went on air. We want to talk about the young QBs and not necessarily rookies, right?
yeah, I think just the young quarterbacks, I feel like there's a lot more than there has been in the past. I feel like in the past we're always just watching, Rodgers is still around, but it seemed like it was always just Flacco, Roethlisberger, Mannings, Brady. And now I feel like it's organizations are just striving to get someone and get them going while they're young.
Yeah, before we get to the young guys, like let's just outline the best of the best. And like these are the top guys right now. Best quarterback, number one overall. Who do you like?
I got to go with Josh Allen. I think after his season last year, he proved himself to be the number one. And I don't know if he really had Shakira was good last year, but I don't know if he had a number one receiver, like a guy that, every other team in the NFL, like I would love to have this guy in our squad.
Mm-hmm.
And just
even the Chiefs got Kelsey if it's not a wide receiver.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was just impressive what he can do, especially with his legs as well. Like I think what makes it so tough is maybe a few years ago, you didn't see as many quarterbacks that were going to, be 6'5" and also be able to do it with their legs. And so Josh Allen's just a guy that you have to, keep him in the pocket, but he also can air it out. And then once he does get out of the pocket, you don't want a cornerback trying to tackle him.
Yeah, and 6'5", I can't remember how much exactly weighs, but just an extremely powerful dude. It's ironic that he didn't win the MVP last year and Lamar Jackson did. Mm-hmm. And the year prior, he won the MVP, Lamar Jackson didn't. You flip those two MVP awards. That part makes no sense. I love Josh Allen. I'm going to take the layup, though. Give me Mahomes. Give me the guy who's been the best, the most consistently so far. And I know the stats could be a little fluky, and people like to just call the Chiefs the luckiest team ever. If you win a lot of close games, that says something about leadership on the team, which is the coaches, but also a lot of times the quarterback. I'm going to give it to Mahomes. Give me your number two.
Honestly, I got to go with Burrow.
Mahomes slander.
I know. No, I like Mahomes. I think here's the thing about Mahomes is if we're just going talent-wise, best quarterback, I don't know if I would say right now that Mahomes is the best quarterback talent-wise. I think he's the best game manager in the league right now. And as a quarterback, my thought process is I think you can lose your team more games than you just go ahead and win them games. And I think Mahomes is a guy that, rarely ever loses them games. In the Super Bowl, we did see that with the interceptions. But I think talent-wise, just seeing what Josh Allen and then Joe Burrow can do. Joe Burrow does have some great weapons, and maybe sometimes he does look better, especially last season when they were down quite a bit, so they were airing it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think from just a talent standpoint, those guys are just berserk and fun to watch.
Fair enough. I probably wouldn't have been closer to you, but I'm sure you watched the Super Bowl and you remember late at the end there. I know it was kind of garbage time points, but that dime that Mahomes threw, I can't remember for how many yards it was, but when he threw that, I was like, okay, he's still just incredibly lethal. And even though it wasn't a great game, like he still has those ridiculous throws on the move, accuracy. So I think the roster needs some tinkering, and I'll expect them to be back. And then give me your third, and then we'll only go to three.
Yeah, Mahomes has to be in the top three, and you could easily argue from what perspective you're kind of looking at it or what area. Just winner wise, you could easily just put him at one for what he's done, especially when he came into the league and no one really expected him to show up and, start a dynasty.
Yeah.
And so just from his competitiveness and just how he does manage games, because the amount of playoff games that we've seen him where, maybe it's against the Bills and we'll just be like, all right, the Bills have this, like there's no way. And then Mahomes, he needs 13 seconds and he'll do what he needs to do. So in those aspects, Mahomes is easily top three. And I think those three guys, you could argue, are just interchangeable. Same with Lamar Jackson. He's a guy that you could interchange. But the thing about Mahomes that sets him ahead is that he won Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I always I wonder about some of the other quarterbacks. It's like, if they had to face Josh Allen as often as they did, would they even be in those Super Bowls? If Mahomes isn't there, it's like we're probably talking about the Bills making all the Super Bowls. I don't know if they're winning it, but the road for Mahomes has also been brutally tough because he's got a guy who you put at number one in the exact same window. They're both in their prime, and it's like you have to go through that every single year. The 1 year they lost to the Bills on the road, doesn't matter. They get to the playoffs and they take care of the Bills once again. So I'll go Mahomes 1. At number 2, I'll go Josh Allen and then Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty interchangeable between those two guys. They're both they're similar and also just a little bit different. Lamar scares you more with his legs, less with his arm, but he can do both. Allen scares you more with his arm than his legs, but he can do both. All right, with that being said, let's get to the young guys now. Give me the quarterback, rookie, second year. You can even sneak in third year that you think is going to have what do you call it? Welcome to the league season where he finally breaks out.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's Bryce Young. I think he's been a guy who's kind of got a lot of slander as of late, especially last season. They benched him. And I think one thing that's so tough for young quarterbacks is sometimes they'll get into the league and people just expect them to perform just like that. And I think Bryce Young is a guy that does have the talent. He was drafted number 1 overall for a reason because the Panthers were not good the year prior. And so you can't expect him to just show up and just put up, Jaden Daniels numbers, which is also absurd. But I think Bryce Young's a guy who has shown that he has the talent and he's gone through it. He's been benched. He's had those setbacks, but I think he's a guy that hopefully can improve and perform. I still don't know if he has the weapons for that and the team for that.
That's my problem.
Yeah. And I think that's tough too, we're talking about great quarterbacks, but Joe Burrow, he has T. Higgins, he has Jamar Chase. Mahomes has Travis Kelce. So these guys have weapons around them. It's tough to be an amazing quarterback when you don't have those guys.
Yeah. And it's like, even for Joe Burrow, it's like, the offensive line, we can talk about the defense, being as woeful as it was, costing them something. Their offense was insane for the Bengals last year. So they can win some games. Bryce Young, he has to ball out on offense, and then the defense is still very likely to give up a lot of points as well. So he doesn't really feel like he has a whole lot of weapons on either side of the ball. I like Bryce Young. I'm just, on that team, I just feel like it's so cursed for him. Even worse than, I can't say worse. They had Cam Newton, close to what the Bears kind of cursed as with the quarterbacks. And for him, my biggest fear is he's got to go through a Baker Mayfield arc.
Yeah.
Where he's just got to get out of a bad situation. And then hopefully not a terrible situation where he moves on to a team like the Browns and they trade him after a playoff game. I can't see the Panthers doing that, but just feels like he needs to get out of Carolina to reshape his career. Well, how many interceptions did he throw last year? I think he's played better towards the end of it because he got benched and then there's a whole saga with him.
Yeah.
But he did, I want to say he had some progress late in the season. So if he can hold on to that momentum, I'm just super down on the Panthers. All right, give me your next guy.
Next guy, I'll make you happy. I think Caleb Williams is going to be really good.
I love it.
I think he's a guy that I feel like he got a little bit of hate. Maybe it was just his, his ego going to the league, just being a really confident guy. But what else do you want from a quarterback? I mean, who do you want him to, be? Someone who's kind of cowardly out there or a little nervous, or a rookie that shows up and says, I'm just going to ball. And he played, the Bears weren't great. And the NFC North is it was a gauntlet last year. It's tough. So how are you going to, show up and just win divisional games as a rookie is hard. But if you look at his stats, he had a good stat line and it felt like he just continuously got better throughout the season. And so I think the talent is there. It's just, I think he had quite a few sacks. I think he needs a little bit more time in the pocket. And I think he's a guy that could maybe put up, those Jaden Daniels numbers or, Bo Nix kind of numbers heading into this next season. And I'm excited to see how he does, but it's tough because he's in another one of those situations where, he didn't get everything handed to him right when he walked in. He doesn't have all those weapons, or he doesn't have, an offensive line that's absolutely just going to carry him. And so that makes it tough, especially playing in the NFC North.
Yeah, hopefully the NFC North gets a little bit weaker for the Bears' sake, which it might be. I mean, obviously the Lions losing Ben Johnson, who's now with Chicago Bears. The Packers, we'll see. And then again, with the Vikings, you're just kind of waiting to see. Another guy I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as a Bears fan, I know it all too well. Caleb Williams had so many late game drives to put his team in a position. It's like win the ball game. Do you remember Thanksgiving? I don't know if you watched NFL Thanksgiving Day. It was Lions, Bears.
Yeah.
He gets them all the way
Yeah.
to field goal range, and they fail to take a timeout.
Yeah.
Now, we can blame that on Caleb Williams, but my Lord, the head coach should see that, and call that timeout. Should Caleb saw the clock? Yes, but the fact that the head coaches didn't help him out either. You had a Packers late game drive. Packers hit a field goal. Same thing for the Vikings. It's just over and over and over again. You had a lot of really good late game drives and just couldn't convert. Felt a little bit at times like Nebraska, where no matter how good Adrian could play a game, we'd do something in the end to cost us the game. So I'm optimistic on him, mainly because they fixed that offensive line a lot. That was the biggest weakness there. And we'll see if the defense can hold on to it. But I like that one. JJ McCarthy.
That's one I think that's a tough one. I think he is extremely talented. But the thing is we've only seen him at a Michigan team that was absolutely dominant. And
15-0.
Yeah, had an unbelievable run game, had 2 insane running backs, had the best offensive line in the country. And so it's going to be different to see him in the NFL and how he competes there. And I'm really looking forward to just his passing game, because we saw that in Michigan a little bit, but no one really ever thought of him or how he could throw it. Sometimes people question his accuracy. And then also when, he did drop back to pass, you also had to worry about him, running 40 yards for a touchdown. So I'm curious to see just how his accuracy is and how he handles, being a starting quarterback in the NFL when you can't always rely on a run game, or you do have to air it out often, or if you are down in a game, how do you respond? I think he's a guy that has the talent to be really good. It just depends on how his team surrounds him and what they do.
Are you buying or selling on a breakout season? And when I say breakout, I just mean, what I think his standards are to be a solid starting quarterback, right? I won't say he has to be a superstar, but are you predicting on at least a somewhat clean rookie year? Like a Caleb Williams-esque season.
Yeah.
Or he took some criticism, but at the end of the day, you look at the numbers and it's like he really, for a rookie year, that's not bad.
I'm not super high on it. I think he has, like I said, the talent. I still think, the Packers are going to be good. The Bears, new head coach, I think they're going to, progress this year, especially with Caleb Williams. And then the Lions are going to be good once again. So I think it's going to be tough in the division. And I feel like the Vikings, he has the weapons. He has Jordan Addison. He has Justin Jefferson. So it's how often can he get them the ball? If he can get them the ball consistently, then I think he's going to be really good. I think it depends on, his receivers. How well does he make that connection with them? I wouldn't say I'm super high, especially I feel like sometimes, like I said before, we put so much pressure on these rookie quarterbacks to just show up and just perform. And it takes years. Some guys, it takes years, or, when Aaron Rodgers develops under, Brett Favre, and then Jordan Love for the Packers under Aaron Rodgers. So I think that can be extremely beneficial. So I think it's going to take time for him to develop. Maybe, not this year, maybe not next year, but I think the following year is going to be a year that he really gets comfortable, because I think this year is more about getting comfortable rather than, expecting the Vikings to make a deep playoff run.
Yeah, ironically, I'm going to take the Kool-Aid on this just because it's the Vikings.
Yeah.
I mean, Vikings and quarterbacks, they just find a way to be super consistent. With Kirk Cousins, you feel like, oh man, when he goes down, the world's over. They plug in Darnold. He has better numbers. And like nobody would ever suspect that in that world. And you give some credit to Darnold. He got rode off too soon. But just that coaching staff has been able to plug in great, consistent offenses year in, year out, really regardless of who's playing at that position. I'm blanking on his name. The Baldy, who was playing their quarterback for a little bit. People were about to shave their eyebrows as well to honor him, because they thought he was going to be the starting quarterback, because it was Kirk Cousins went down and he filled in for a little bit.
Yeah.
402-464-5685. You guys can beat me to it. But either way, like they even had him look like a franchise quarterback for a little bit. And the Vikings fan base was like, oh, we got our next guy.
Yeah.
And then obviously it fizzled out a little bit, but they're just so good at plugging in quarterbacks. I just think it's that system. So I'm going to buy it. If it was on another team like the Panthers I mentioned earlier, maybe not so much, but I got immense faith in the Vikings doing well in the regular season. Postseason's a whole nother story. And thank you. From text line, Josh Dobbs.
Yes.
Remember the Josh Dobbs era, and people wanted to shave their eyebrows because, they look a little bit like him, or I think that was the joke behind it. But yeah, super funny nonetheless. Jane Daniels. This is a different question because it's not really a breakout. Like, what's the ceiling? Because he's going legitimately be in an MVP race this year.
Yeah, I think we should expect the same, if not more. I mean, it's crazy to be a rookie quarterback and show up and just almost look as comfortable as he did.
Mhm.
And I think the most fun part to watch about him was late games. Like he was most rookies, I feel like you'll see him late in the game and maybe the clock management isn't great or, they have a big time turnover or something like that. But it seemed like the later in the game it got, like he just locked in. Especially in against the Eagles. That was one game that was just unbelievable. Just a rookie going up against, the best team in the league and just going down and having a game winning drive. So I think the ceiling is through the roof. And I think the ceiling is for him to, over the next 1-2 years is get into that, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, guys that maybe not have not won it all yet, but are just on the verge.
And that coaching staff's so good around him too. Again, like I talk about that maybe too much at times, but it's such a big deal for those quarterbacks. And when you got Kingsbury there as your OC, whatever you thought of him as a head coach over there at Arizona, he's a good offensive minded guy. And when he just purely focuses on the offense, it did wonders for Jaden Daniels. I'm not going to buy the Kool-Aid just simply out of bias. Like I just can't forgive them for that Hail Mary. But he's a phenomenal player. And that staff around it is incredible. And I like the players. So, do I want to buy it? No. But if, I really had to bet on it, I think Jaden Daniels, he's going to take another step. MVP, it's such a loaded quarterback league right now. I'm going to say no, but he's definitely going to keep moving up there in that ladder and nowhere near his prime. Jaden Daniels, what other young quarterbacks are we missing?
Bo Nix is one I'm excited to see.
Oh, yeah, Bo Nix.
Last year, I think Sean Payton got a little bit of hate for just, Bo Nix showing up and he was just like, this is our guy. And he said he was their guy, months before the season and no one really expected that. And Sean Payton just rode with it. And I think early in the season, it was a little bit slow, but then towards the end, you were like, this guy looks so confident out there. And then you see the video of him on the sideline, getting in Sean Payton's face and, sticking up for himself a little bit and saying what he saw. And I just thought that was impressive, being a rookie. I feel like so many rookies shy away from that, or they're always, oh, it's my fault. There's nothing I can do about it. Or I don't want the coach to be upset with me. But he walked in there and it almost seemed like Bo Nix sees that as his team now.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things for quarterbacks is you have to be the leader of a team. And I think there are some organizations that have a quarterback that don't really feel that way. I mean, you could say that about, the Colts with Anthony Richardson. Does everyone in the locker room think, okay, this is our guy? Maybe not. But when you have a rookie that, kind of establishes that, and he was a captain. So, and to touch on your point with Jaden Daniels and just the coaching staff is, I think the best coaches in any sport, in any realm, just instill as much confidence as possible into their players. So when it does come time to step on the field, they're ready to go and they just play. They don't think, they're not worrying about what could go wrong. And I think the organizations that have success with young quarterbacks do that very well. And then the organizations that maybe bench a guy after, a few rough starts really don't set them up for success. And what do you expect them to do after, they do get benched? Because as a young guy, you're like, am I even going to make it in this league at this point? So I think just instilling as much confidence into the guys is extremely important.
Yeah. And, you heard Bill Belichick even talk to the Chicago Bears coaching staff when they first got Williams. Is like, that's the biggest thing you're going to have to manage. And that's why, you go get Ben Johnson. That's his whole MMO is we're here for you guys to build confidence in you guys. And, that's why I think the Lions are going to be okay. Like that's Dan Campbell's culture. And I think that's where Ben Johnson, maybe not got it all from there, but I think that's a big part of it. Like what Dan Campbell did to the Lions, a team that got spat on for years, was give them hope and confidence. Like we can go out there and compete. And it took a while, but over time you saw that work. And that's where you see the situations like Baker Mayfield, where it's like you're killing the guy's confidence. He's going to have a hard time. Bryce Young, kind of the same thing. I just wasn't really sure. I'm like, I think you're hurting his confidence more than anything else. But I think Bo Nix he's going to be really good. And that second game of the year, I was looking it up because I remember he had a monster game versus the Chiefs. And again, they finished the year 10-7. And if you're doing that with a rookie QB, and Bo Nix in that game versus the Chiefs was 26 for 29, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns. Might have been one of the best games by a rookie all year. And just a dominant shutout. Like even some of Jaden Daniels' numbers don't sniff. Three misses.
The numbers are close between him and Jaden Daniels. And I think Jaden Daniels just had one of those kind of unicorn years as a rookie. But Bo Nix was, just a little step behind that. Which is pretty cool to see two rookie quarterbacks just go berserk and kind of go into the league with some confidence and not fear, am I going to get benched? Is this my team? And just go to work. I am curious. I want to hear your thoughts on Russell Wilson with the Giants. How Do you think he has a little bit of a short leash with Jackson Dart coming in there, or do you think this is Russell Wilson's team?
I think he's got a short leash.
Yeah.
I mean, the move you make to take Dart, they must really like Jackson Dart. At least that's how I'm reading into it, because obviously at that point it was a big shock. I think people were still anxiously waiting for like Shedeur Sanders or, a lot of people before Jackson Dart. Like he was certainly one of those guys, but I think he was probably like 4, maybe 3, 5 on a lot of people's QB draft boards. To me, the Giants really like him. So I think he's going to be on a short leash. Do you see Russell Wilson taking over as like he's the guy of this team?
I'm on the same page as you. I think he has a pretty short leash. I think because going into it, you get a guy like Russell Wilson, you get a veteran to show up and win. You realize this isn't a building season if we have a veteran quarterback like this, because we're not sure how long he's going to be here for, how long he's going to be healthy for. So I think it's all right. We got Russell Wilson. We have a guy that has won in the past. We need him to show up and win. But if he doesn't win, then all right, we'll turn this into more of a rebuilding, and we'll get Jackson Dart some reps and get him hopefully comfortable playing in the NFL. Because I don't think there's any reason, if the Giants aren't winning or they're really struggling, to continue to have Russell Wilson, who wasn't the fix for this year, but you have a quarterback that could be the fix for the future.
And from the text line here, Jackson says Dart will be the starter by week 4. So
I can totally see that. Yeah, I think that could be extremely true. And if the Giants are winning, which I think they don't have, a squad to make the playoffs this year. So if Russell Wilson's not the answer right away,
why would you play out
with
Russell Wilson was like, we're not going anywhere. We might as well develop, see what we have. And unless you like, Darren Rodgers, Brett Favre, or the Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix Jr., we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
Michael Penix Jr., is he going to get the shot this year?
I believe so. Yeah. I think we talked earlier, and Kirk Cousins seems like he's kind of taken that role as maybe a backup and just being a mentor. And I think what we saw from, the end of last season in Penix, it was not, beautiful all the time, but he did have some pretty good moments, some, decent games, decent drives. And they play they're in the NFC South. In the NFC South, it's not a, gauntlet down there.
Yeah.
Like you have some
pretty
opportunities to win. It's pretty open. So I think that Penix is a guy that could also maybe have a breakout year if he gets comfortable, gets confident, gets some momentum. Once he gets that momentum, I think he has the talent to kind of take off a little bit.
All right, now give me the guy you are the most confident in of the really truly young guys. We'll take Daniels off the board because we just know he's going to be good. So Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix. The guy. Those are the 4 really big guys I think most people are going to have eyes on.
Yeah.
Who has the best season?
I'm going to have to go with Bo Nix. I think he just took that team by storm, showed up and said, I'm the leader, and, made the playoffs as a rookie. And I think he's a guy that in the AFC West is tough. I mean, the Chargers as well. The Raiders are, can always be tough to beat sometimes. And then you have the Chiefs, obviously. So I think the Broncos with Bo Nix are a team that is going to be on the rise this year.
I agree. Okay, then I'll take Bo Nix off. Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy.
I got to go with Caleb Williams. I think Ben Johnson's showing up as a new head coach. I think he's going to instill a lot of confidence in Caleb Williams, who already has extreme talent. And I think Ben Johnson, just offensive mindset, is going to go and kind of mold Caleb Williams into a confident NFL quarterback. So I'm going to go with Caleb Williams.
All right, I'm going to selfishly agree on that in the segment here. We'll go talk some more NFL football on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Tristan Gomes, Harrison Arns, talk to you in a bit.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the 2nd season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Is your child 7 to 8 years old and wanting to get involved in competitive baseball or softball? The Nebraska Dominators have been active in the youth sports community since 1994 and are currently holding tryouts for their 7U and 8U baseball and softball teams. Visit the Nebraska Dominators Facebook page for more info today and provide your player the path to a successful and enjoyable youth sports experience with the help of the Nebraska Dominators.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. It'll be breezy and hot with an afternoon high near 93. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze, a low around 71. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and hot again with a high near 94. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
An award-winning softball season deserves a celebration. Don't miss your chance to congratulate Jordy Ball in person. Join the team at Midwest Bank for a special meet and greet on July 16th at their Jamie Lane location as they recognize her incredible achievements. Bring your friends, your team spirit, and your favorite gear for Jordy to sign, and it all kicks off at 4 p.m. They can't wait to see you there. Get all the details at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
4th of July weekend is coming soon, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? A dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble your grill so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready-mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Segment number 2, Ticket Weeknights. Tristan Gomes, Harrison Arens back at the Ticket Studios, 1040 O Street. You guys can join in as you have been. Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685, and any of these streams. We're going to keep it on NFL QBs. We talked a lot about the younger QBs, years 1s, 2s. If you've got an injury rookie year, but let's talk about some of the older guys. First one, probably had the most noise this offseason, Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steeler. They've been pretty busy. Obviously, they just had that blockbuster trade with the Miami Dolphins. Where are you at on the Steelers? You know, Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers doesn't always seem like the duo that you would think of. I'm really interested if this could be the first time to go under 500.
Yeah, I'm really curious kind of what they're expecting with Aaron Rodgers, because you know what you're getting him for probably a year, just a year. So is your thought process, we're bringing Aaron Rodgers in and we're going to win the Super Bowl this year? Like, is that kind of where their head's at? Or are they maybe thinking we'll wait? I mean, next year's quarterback class out of college seems like it's going to be a pretty good draft class. So I'm curious if they're like, all right, we'll just take Aaron Rodgers for this year. And, you know, maybe if it doesn't go well, then we'll find a way to get a solid rookie quarterback next year. And they didn't feel confident in this QB class. So I'm curious if that's their thought process. But you saw with the Jets, it wasn't like he was, you know, prime Aaron Rodgers. He, you know,
really struggled
quite a few games, didn't kind of, you know, have those huge drives that you needed at the end of the game. So I'm really curious, especially like you said with Mike Tomlin, is what's his thought process? Because that doesn't, to me, that doesn't seem like a duo that just like is a match made in heaven.
No, and especially the way the offseason played out. And this is me totally reading it from the sideline. But to me, Mike Tomlin's the ultimate no-nonsense type of guy. Feels like Rodgers, right or wrong, has a lot of distractions coming off season.
Yeah.
So maybe it works out. I don't like it. Now, I don't think they're going to go under 500, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're just at 500 or just a little bit over 500 because I just don't know how I feel uneasy about that relationship. And what's the contingency plan? I think it's Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't feel great if you have to go to the backup either. You're kind of going back to just leaning on what the Steelers always do. Really good defense, time of possession, low scoring games. You do enough to win close. The other guy, we'll throw in Justin Fields since he was the Steelers and now he's on the Jets.
Yeah.
Justin Fields has had a horrible career and a lot of it not his fault. As a Bears fan, I could say, to your point, we kind of helped set up Caleb Williams. Year one, we put some pieces together. Year two, we really put pieces. We didn't ever do anything for Justin Fields while he was here. And then he gets shipped off. Does pretty well with the Steelers. He gets them to 4-2. Then they put in Russell Wilson, and he gets rode off. Now he's with the Jets. Sauce Gardner, just super giddy about him already, comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, which Aaron Rodgers wasn't very great there, so I don't know how that sits. But where are you at with Justin Fields? And the New York Jets, who just have not had any luck with their QBs, even though they just had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields is another guy, another young quarterback that didn't have a whole bunch of help or didn't have an organization that really gave him confidence or let him know that it was going to be his team, with the Bears and then with the Steelers. I was a little frustrated last year. I understand you brought in Russell Wilson to be the starter for a reason. But then when Justin Fields is out there winning games,
it looks good.
And you're like, all right, he's been a starting quarterback in the league before, with the Bears. And, he didn't always win, but he had some pretty good games with the Bears. Like there was a lot of times where maybe the defense didn't play great, but Justin Fields had a solid game. So I have confidence in him. It's the Jets. And the Jets will be the Jets every single year, but he has weapons. He has.
Is Adams still there?
Adams is gone. No, Adams is with the Rams now.
That's right.
Since the Rams got rid of Cooper Kupp, which is also crazy. But he has Garrett Wilson as a number one, who is a good number one in the NFL. I think this is Justin Fields' opportunity to kind of just prove everyone wrong and just go win and, take over a team. Because I'm not sure who their backup is as of now, but it seems like they're putting a lot of trust into Justin Fields and giving him this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Aaron Davis for chiming in saying, great show, fellas. Sorry to be so down on your Pittsburgh Steelers, but I'm just not sure about Aaron Rodgers there. But yeah, I like the opportunity for Justin Fields. It's just, you feel uneasy because it's New York Jets and just once again, another organization that hasn't had a lot of success, but right now, like the keys are his.
Yeah.
The Jets have been so burnt. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. Like they're going to be willing to give Aaron Rodgers a big opportunity. He's got more help than he even did at the Chicago Bears, which is crazy to think of what the New York Jets record has been. He's got his guy in Garrett Wilson, like you said, and that defense is still good. So he doesn't have to play lights out. He can do a little bit of the J.J. McCarthy game management, and he can use his legs to get to the quick run. I mean, he's phenomenal dual threat. The biggest thing for him is you're just looking for those really touch passes, and I think that's the move they went to Russell Wilson because they'd get to the red zone a lot. And it just felt like with him, a lot of times you were nervous to throw the ball, you end up running more and settling for field goals more often.
Yeah.
They put in Russell Wilson, that red zone efficiency ticked up. So that's the challenge for me with Justin Fields. But I like it. I at least he gets another opportunity. Because again, I'm with you on that Steelers. After he had that nice start, I thought give him a little bit more run until he proves it's falling apart. And he never got that opportunity. But hopefully he can do that with New York Jets.
Yeah, that's a good week one matchup as well. It's Jets Steelers week
one. Is it really week
one?
one?
So that'll be an odd just kind of reunion, just Fields going against the Steelers, which I bet he has a bad taste in his mouth regarding that. And then Aaron Rodgers didn't love how the Jets played out. I don't think anyone loved that. So it'll be exciting to watch that. And I think Justin Fields especially is going to have a chip on his shoulder going into that.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. Like I've never, that's one of the QBs, even when Caleb Williams was on the board, like I felt bad. I was like, man, we didn't do anything to help this guy out. Best of luck to you, but it is a business at the end of the day. And because we did nothing for you, we have to move on. So hopefully with the New York Jets, he has a breakout season of his own. Brock Purdy, he's had so much hate around him. I can never understand it. Normally you're, why am I blanking on it? Last pick of the draft guy. What's the name of him?
Oh,
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Usually that guy gets a ton of love for simply being that guy way at the end there. He just hasn't received anything for being a late round draft pick to him taking over, being on a phenomenal starter, winning game after game, continuing the streak into the NFL playoffs. and then the next season doesn't go as smoothly as you want, and another one goes by. Where are you at with Brock Purdy? Can he be the guy for this team?
I'm a fan. I think he can be the guy. I think maybe why he gets so much hate is just because he was Mr. Irrelevant, and then he, had that unbelievable playoff
took him
run.
to the Super
Took
Bowl.
him to the Super Bowl, and you have, George Kittle, you have McCaffrey, you have Ayuk, you have Deebo Samuel. So I think some people were like, all right, is he really that good of a quarterback, or does he just have some of the best weapons in the NFL around him and can kind of be carried a little bit? And so I think after this past season, everyone was like, all right, it's kind of a fluke, or they didn't give him as much hype. But I think he's good. He's kind of one of those guys, though, where if you're the Niners, are you like, this is our future? Or is he a guy where you're like, we'll see for maybe, 1-2 more seasons, see how he does? Because I think this year is a year that he might have to prove something in order for the Niners to have confidence. Is like, this is our quarterback going into the future.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with Brock Purdy. I'm not fully confident either, which is crazy to say, because to go on a rookie and make it all the way to the Super Bowl, and arguably had a much better chance. Greenlaw has the weird freak injury coming off the sideline. Was it Achilles that he tore?
Achilles, yeah.
Yeah, just freak accident. Obviously, that linebacker core was the heart and soul of that defense, and Greenlaw was arguably one of the biggest pieces of that core. So that was brutal. I'd give him, this to me is like a make it or break it year.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at his contract to see. I mean, that's obviously going to be a big deciding factor in it. Brock Purdy, I'd give him 2 years, and I think the 49ers probably move on.
Yeah.
Depending on the contract. I could be wrong on the contract details, and obviously it has to make sense for them. Any other older quarterbacks that you're curious on that can make a turnaround? Or another step, I should say.
Yeah.
Not a turnaround.
I'm really curious about Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I feel like Justin Herbert's a guy that maybe has gotten, a little bit of hate, but has always performed. But it seems like they've never had a, stellar defense behind him, or he hasn't always had, the greatest weapons. But I feel like he's a guy, like a good quarterback that if you did put on, maybe another team, you put him on the Chiefs or you put him on the Bills, like he's a guy that would, perform maybe just as well as Allen and Mahomes. And I think he has the talent. It's just the Chargers seem like they just, shoot themselves in the foot every so often and, will lose close games or have a fluke of some sort. So I'm curious about him, especially being in the AFC West. And it seems like he just consistently, or Mahomes consistently just has his number.
You think Jim Harbaugh is the right coach to get that place turned around?
I think so. I mean, it seems like just watching everything they've done, especially this past season, players love them.
Yeah.
Like the players love going out and playing for Jim Harbaugh, and he gets excited. And Justin Herbert's been very high on him, and I'm not sure he felt the same way about Brandon Staley when he was there. So
I really don't think he did. Just maybe not felt in a negative way, but certainly not in the same positive way that it feels. And that a big part of that's Jim Harbaugh, who, man, he's loved him. Even before he was the head coach of the Chargers, he was just talking about how good of a player he is. So you kind of saw that before, that he already had the confidence in him, and then he took over. I'm going to buy it just simply because I do think Jim Harbaugh is a great coach.
Yeah.
And I think going back to the Dan Campbell, he's got that team believing in themselves and raising that confidence. And I think that sometimes can be overlooked. Trevor Lawrence, who has just had a horrible run of luck. Not, some of it his fault, some of it weird coaching decisions, some of it ETN getting injured every other, what feels like a couple weeks. Just not a lot of luck over there. Trevor Lawrence, are we kind of getting to the end of his ability to be a trade asset to go start for, I shouldn't say that, his ability to be a true franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I'm extremely curious about that. And just one thing about Trevor Lawrence is he's another guy that, maybe similar to a Justin Herbert, who has, showed spurts of how good he can really be and been he can be a leader. Was it the first round of the playoffs, not this past year, but the year before, that he led them to beat the Chargers in like a 28-point game comeback or something like that, which is just unreal. And you can't do that if you're not a good quarterback. Like, you need a good quarterback for that to happen. My question is he a guy that could be a franchise quarterback, but he's just not in the right place? Like, how much longer are the Jaguars going to wait for, them to continue to, kind of be a little mediocre and expect him to maybe just take off, when in reality, maybe they could trade him or get some assets for him. And then you see him go somewhere else and have a lot of success. He's a guy that I think could be really good. I just don't know if Jacksonville is going to be the place. Like, does Jacksonville expect to win a Super Bowl with him?
I think I just want to figure out how to win that conference.
Yeah.
Like it does take some baby steps here.
Yeah.
And I just think they're so lost right now that it's hard to. I wanted to, for Trevor Lawrence in the offseason, like that should be the goal of every great athlete. Like his confidence level has got to be so low. I'm not buying on him. I think it's just unfortunate circumstances more than anything else. I mean, at Clemson, he was an absolute monster. So I think it's just unfortunate situation.
100%.
Not buying it. Unfortunately for him. 2 more quarterbacks, then we'll throw it to break here. I'm putting together on the text line this Jackson Kleinschmidt, former ticket talent, because he wants to know about Dak and the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, we talked about him off air.
Yeah.
He just chokes in the playoffs. Like regular season, apart from last year. Last year was kind of a disaster, up and down season for them. But he does so well. He's had the number 1 offense at times, just to get crushed by the Packers, as I mentioned in the offseason, round 1 in the playoffs, or he has some just brutal end of game moment where he does, in a way, truly cost the team the game.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, can you trust him? And in the regular season, I think you can. Can you trust him in the postseason? Can he be that Super Bowl caliber quarterback?
I think he can. I think he's proven it in the regular season. So I'm curious just what the difference is when he does get into those moments. I don't think the lights get too bright. It made it seem that way. He has the talent to go and win. And it seems like the Cowboys for, my whole lifetime have been that way, where there'll be a team that you expect to win. They're really good, with Tony Romo as well. And then they just don't. Like you're watching the playoffs and they're like, oh yeah, the Cowboys should win this game. It's like, oh, they just lost for no reason, or like the Des Bryant no catch or things like that. So you just see those kinds of things. I think he has the ability to go and win. And it seems like the Cowboys, ever since he got into the league, ever since he took the starting job, they've just invested him to a point where they're like, we can't go anywhere else. Like he's our guy. We're sticking with him. Hopefully we can get over this playoff hump.
Yeah. And his text line once again points out Pickens will help as well. You got another valuable target. Certainly helps out CD Lamb's case. 100%. CD Lamb was, my mind, clearly looking upset last year through all the struggles of the season. All right, last guy I wanted to talk to you about. He seems to be hitting a little bit of a slump. CJ Stroud.
Yeah, well,
he was like Jaden Daniels that first year.
Yeah,
and the second year didn't follow the same. He had a sophomore slump, but he's still a very solid quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a sophomore slump. His weapons didn't Diggs get hurt.
Yep, he had some injuries,
and then Tank Dell, same thing. So, kind of lost, 2 of his best weapons besides Nico Collins. I think he's going to be good. I think a sophomore slump often happens because guys maybe get so confident, or their expectations for the season get so high after their solid rookie year, to a point where they expect that, and then maybe they don't respond as well when that isn't the case all the time. So I think maybe after this past season, he recognized, all right, this isn't going to be, exactly how I expect it. I can have all these goals, I can go and try to attain them, but sometimes like it hits the fan, like things don't work out or injuries happen. I think he's going to respond really well this year.
Yeah, I think he'll bounce back. I shouldn't say bounce back. I think he'll respond really well, not necessarily a big bounce back. They get put together a big season. The other part, you get through your rookie year, defensive coordinators are good. All offseason, they figure out who's on their schedule. How do we need to attack this quarterback? You'll see it midseason. You'll see it, when a new DC is there, all of a sudden, all these teams will struggle for those first few weeks. So new DC's got some new wrinkles to it. Give it a few weeks. Now the offensive coordinators figure it out and they can attack again. So I'm with you there. I think CJ Stroud will, I don't know what his ceiling is, but I think he'll continue that climb and won't continue to have that quote unquote slump. And the injuries were a major factor in that, as you pointed out. We'll throw it to break here. We'll talk some NBA finally on the third and final segment. Take a Weeknights. Tristan Gomes, Harrison Arns. Talk to you in a bit.
Hey, it's Jake Sorensen. Join us for early break this Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. at the brand new Residence Inn at 9th and R in the Haymarket. We'll showcase the brand new hotel and preview its grand opening. That's early break this Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. at the Residence Inn at 9th and R in the Haymarket.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Season and deserves a celebration. Don't miss your chance to congratulate Jordy Ball in person. Join the team at Midwest Bank for a special meet and greet on July 16th at their Jamie Lane location as they recognize her incredible achievements. Bring your friends, your team spirit, and your favorite gear for Jordy to sign, and it all kicks off at 4 p.m. They can't wait to see you there. Get all the details at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Play ball!
Haymarket Park is buzzing with excitement this summer. Grab your crew and get in on the fun. Be sure to catch all the daily specials and promotions this season, like Thirsty Thursday, Fireworks Friday, Souvenir Saturday, Family Fun Day Sunday, plus special events and discounts all summer long. Don't miss out on the action as the Lincoln Salt Dogs take on their biggest rivals and knock the ball out of the park. Visit saltdogs.com and see this week's promotions and grab your tickets.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather.
Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. It'll be breezy and hot with an afternoon high near 93. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze, a low around 71. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and hot again with a high near 94. I'm meteorologist Kyle Beck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready-mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. As promised, we'll wrap up a little bit of NBA here, and we'll talk with some coaching news. Not quite official, but rumored to be very near and soon. Mike Brown previously coached the Cleveland Cavaliers, first gig, then the Lakers, then back to the Cavaliers for 1 year, and then it was, I think,
the Kings.
Just straight to the Kings. Yeah, no other stops, and now he's finally back once again, and possibly with the New York Knicks, as at least is being reported right now. Mike Brown, he's pretty good coaching records. Like throughout his entire career, I don't think he's ever won a finals. He's been to multiple conference finals. Yep. He's been to multiple playoff games, but he hasn't necessarily been over the hump. You did fire Coach Tibbs, who, ironically, you could say in these recent years has been in the same category of Mike Brown of really, really good, getting you to where you need to be. Hasn't quite gotten over the hump. Is Mike Brown the right guy to get him over the hump now?
That's what I'm curious about. The Kings weren't super high on him. Obviously, they let him go, and I think he is a good coach. You don't stay in the league coaching for that long unless you have something and you can get the most out of your players. But based on what Tibbs did for New York, and this is the farthest they've made it in a while, and they have the talent to do it. And the Pacers were just red hot. Like they were a team just on a mission. Mm-hmm. And I think the Knicks maybe did have the upper hand going into that series, but you made it there. You have, a lot of the same guys returning, your base guys returning to the Knicks, and, Jalen Brunson and Cat, and you have Josh Hart. and Mikal Bridges. You have so many guys that, can help you get to that step. And I think Thibs was a guy that, got him there. I wonder what they see in Mike Brown that will change that. But I think Mike Brown, knowing that, goes into this as if, all right, I got to make the finals. Like, that's why they're bringing me here.
Yeah, I didn't know who they're gonna. I thought that might have won Mike Malone since the Denver Nuggets, another coach that got fired right before the playoffs.
Still surprised by that one, yeah.
And then they go play the Thunder in a game 7 with interim head coach who is now their head coach. NBA head coaching world, I don't understand. What the Knicks did is reminds me of what the Bucks did, and I worry it's gonna turn out the same way. What the Bucks do, they make it to the playoffs. They get upset though by the Miami Heat. And after that first playoff round, before the Heat continued, before I think there were even 2 games into the second round, they fired Budenholzer. They panicked. And then how have the Bucks been since then?
Yeah.
Pretty irrelevant. They haven't done anything. They moved on of Chris Middleton. They moved on now from bringing Damian Lillard, moving on off of him. You just kind of put your whole franchise in some sort of misdirection. Just doesn't feel like the direction's there anymore. And now maybe Mike Brown could be that guy, but it's hard for me to believe that the players won't be a little bit hard to convince. I'd imagine they liked Coach Thibs a lot for everything he did to get them to that point, allowing Jalen Brunson to really elevate his game. I'm curious about it. I think it's a bad move. Doesn't make me more optimistic on the Knicks at all.
Yeah. I do find it odd, though. I feel like in the NBA, it's just more and more common now for coaches to have such a short leash.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's unbelievable. I mean, Greg Popovich has retired after this year and is taking over as operations for the Spurs. But, I mean, they're forever. Eric Spoelstra, a guy that's still around, but he's been there forever. But it seems like with so many organizations, even organizations like the Nuggets, who have been winning, still, a few years later aren't winning or aren't, on the NBA Finals, championship pace. And they're like, all right, you're not good enough. We need to find a new guy. So I'm really curious just what the thought process is in the front office for these organizations to not, have so much confidence for a guy for a few years.
Well, it's the teams that are winning too that fire.
Yeah.
Like that's the most interesting part of the NBA. Like in the NFL, you watch the NFL, which head coaches got fired? The bad record teams, those head coaches got fired. In the NBA, Chicago Bulls still have Billy Donovan. We've been irrelevant forever. Even the Pacers, Rick Carlisle, he stayed as that head coach and it worked out eventually. But, you could talk about a lot of Pacers years that were not great while he was head coach there. Frank Vogel, he's with that team. They missed the playoff run 1 year. He gets fired despite the year before. I think that was the Mickey Mouse
title.
That
was the bubble, yeah.
Yeah, and he just won you a finals ring.
Yeah. Well, that was the same with, was it the Raptors? When they were there, I think they had the coach of the year. I'm drawing a blank on who it was. When they played the Warriors in the finals.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but he won coach of the year the following year, like a few weeks in. They're like, all right, we're done. It's like he was just the coach of the year last year. And didn't they win that finals?
Yeah, that was Kawhi Leonard.
Yes, that was Kawhi Leonard's year. Yeah, they won that finals. And then they get rid of him soon after, which is just unbelievable.
I'm trying not to look it up. I got his face in my head. He's got the glasses. The hairline's not doing great. He went there. He was the first guy too to really bring back zone. I shouldn't say first guy to bring it back, but he revived zone defense.
Yeah,
because you watch that playoff run, you're like, what the hell are the Raptors doing, breaking into 2-3 zone all the time inadvertently? And then they'd have some zones where they double a certain guy. That is going to drive me nuts. I'll Google it before the end of the show here if I really have to. Final thing I want to talk about, NBA related. Mavericks also got another addition. A guy that I was really high on, and I mentioned him before because the Lakers fired him. Assistant coach now, Frank Vogel, to the Mavericks. I like that move a lot. I think Frank Vogel is a great coach, and you still got Kidd there. And talk about that roster: Cooper Flag, Klay Thompson. I mean, you got role players like Derek Lively, Kyrie. It's a loaded roster, and now you add, I think, a really great coach, Frank Vogel. Does that move the needle at all? You like assistant coaches being put on staff?
I think so. I mean, I think assistant coaches, I feel like when you talk to guys in different organizations or in all sports, it seems like the closest relationships that they have are with assistant coaches. And so they are guys that, have a huge impact on the players that they are coaching. And I think Frank Vogel is a great coach. I think the Lakers, another team the past few years that have just ran through coach after coach because they're not winning the finals. And so that's like, if you're not winning the finals, we don't need you anymore. So I think Frank Vogel is a great guy. Maybe got sent out, because
LeBron and AD got injured.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's great. And I think that's a huge addition for the Mavs.
Yeah, that's one thing talking to guys like actual athletes that have played at a much higher level than me. You realize is, at high school, you can probably talk to your high school head coach a lot more. you start getting to the big boy leagues, their job, like you're hanging out with the assistant coaches more and the trainers and the workout coaches, especially. So you really want that to be intact because they're your eyes and ears of the head coach a lot of the time. So I actually think, you getting Frank Vogel in there tremendously helps. And the guy that we were blanking on, Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse.
Yeah, shame on us. Nick Nurse. I also hated that move.
I know.
Nick Nurse.
Unbelievable move.
That's the NBA, though. They move on quickly from their head coaches. And they typically do it to the winners. And then the NFL seems like the opposite. They actually do it to the losers, which makes a little more sense. Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us. Appreciate you guys listening. As always, that's Tristan Gomez. I'm Harrison Arens. We'll keep Ticket Weeknights rolling on replays. But you should know we do got Royals coming up 8 p.m. So if you want to continue listening, Ticket app, or you can get any of the streams there as well. Like I said, appreciate listening. Royals coming up next.